Okay, guys. I'm over here sweating like Ben Carson in a cabinet meeting. But it's because I found out some terrible information about Donald Trump. Here it is. I'm just going to put it out there. Donald Trump. First of all, it is documented that he was closely associated to a guy named Joseph Stalin back in the 1980s, 1990s, right? This guy was an author and one of the country's most renowned racists. He was in the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan, and he was a Nazi sympathizer. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Donald Trump. He was on record saying, we do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And this explains his outreach. The minister is the man who can straighten that out if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members. What? Finally, the last thing that Donald Trump did that you would think is racist. I found this on Snopes, right? So it's got to be 100% correct. It says, it turns out Donald Trump did speak to a group connected to the KKK and wrote about it openly in Donald Trump, an autobiography published in 1988. Trump details his work advocating for birth control across the United States and emphasizing his willingness to talk to virtually anybody. What? No. This isn't about Donald Trump. It's about Margaret Sanger, the woman who started Planned Parenthood, the woman who had the origin of killing our children by mass. Let's talk about the truth behind abortion and the abortion agenda. Let's get it.
I guess you never heard, but now you'll see about the conspiracy, about the conspiracy. I guess you never heard of Margaret Sanger. Guess you never heard of the stories Nazis who done made up. I guess you never heard about the clinics. Guess you never heard the term eugenics. Guess you listen for 3 minutes about the conspiracy. The conspiracy. But fuck all the guessing, here's the lesson. Say it like this so you know what I'm stressing. Planned Parenthood here to limit all this niggas. Fuck what you taught you, like how do you figure? 1916, Pants was around. She a broken clown on a clinic underground. And 5 years later, fruits of her labor, yeah, she saw back the shit. And she moved up to Harlem for the conspiracy. The conspiracy. Look at the life you lead. Look at the life you lead. But many years before she killing niggas in New York, she was fucking Charles Drysdale where her life took a fork. She learned population growth, it was exponential. Food grew linear solace with no potential. Sick fucks only seen 2 outcomes. Kill babies in their slums that look like you and me, or will grow too quickly. That'll lead to catastrophe. It's the conspiracy. Funds from Rockefeller sharing secrets with the clan. How else can I say it? They want to limit the black man, so she hired this guy man by the name of Clarence Gamble. Take it to the church to make it work, it was a gamble. Best way to get us was to appeal to our religion. 20 million souls later, yeah, that was a decision. Google Negro Projects got it all from the wikis. I repent, turned away, cause they already tricked me. And the seed strong, yeah, especially in the hood, where we got a lukewarm church and a Planned Parenthood for the conspiracy. The conspiracy to limit you and me.
It's time for the St. LibCon Intellectual Dissectional. This is where we take a song on the album and we dissect it line by line so you understand the message, because the message is what changes hearts, changes minds, gonna change this world. Let's get it. We appreciate you joining us at the St. LibCon podcast. We couldn't do this without you. Now remember, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell, share, like, comment on this video if it moves you. Today on the Intellectual Dissectional, we are gonna dissect the song you just heard, Genocide in the Black Room. Let's get right into it. The song starts, I guess you never heard, but now you'll see about the conspiracy. Now, earlier in the series, we defined what is a conspiracy. It's when a group of people get together and make a plan to do some dirty shit. And here, you will soon find out and understand the conspiracy that has been going on over 100 years. And we're going to explain it to you right here. I guess you never heard of Margaret Sanger. I guess you never heard of the stories of the Nazis who done made her. Now, Margaret Sanger, she is the villain in this story. She's the founder of Planned Parenthood. We're going to talk about that organization, its origins, and her background, because that's the key to understanding this abortion agenda. Now, it says here, I guess you never heard of the stories of the Nazis who done made her. Now, as you see in the video, one shot by the way, we just scroll through Wikipedia because everyone thinks that's acceptable. And what do we get to? All of the information that is hiding in plain sight about the conspiracy. Now, what are these Nazis that we speak of, right? Let's take a look. Margaret Sanger. She was associated with the most influential, she was associated with one of the most influential and extreme racist authors in America in the 1920s and 30s. The Klansman and Nazi sympathizer Lothrop Stoddard. This who put her on. This guy, famous author, and she was closely associated with this dude who was in the Klan and sympathized with the Nazis, during preceding the war. I guess you never heard about her clinics, the song continues. I guess you never heard the term eugenics. I guess you'll listen for 3 minutes. Just about the length of the song. Now, what is eugenics? Eugenics is the selective breeding of a population in order to have a desired result. And that result being desirable people to populate the world. And undesirable people, you control that segment of the population. That's what Margaret Sanger believed in. She was a eugenicist. So what are you going to listen 3 minutes about? About the conspiracy. The song continues. But fuck all the guessing. Here's the lesson. I say it like this so you know what I'm stressing. Planned Parenthood is here to limit all us niggas. Fuck what you heard. You like, how do you figure? This is what the song is about. The origin of this organization that controls the left, that you support. And I'm going to ask you, why would you do that? Listen, because you don't know what we're about to talk about, but I'm about to put you on game. In 1916, when your parents, so your great-great-grandparents was around a long time ago, she had broken ground on a clinic underground. You see, abortion was illegal back then. She was doing it underground. And 5 years later, fruits of her labor, because she was making a killing, literally. Yeah, she saw them. She packed the shit up and she moved up to Harlem, 1921. She takes her clinic, moves to the epicenter of the Black Renaissance in Harlem, New York. Now you might say, coincidence. Rarely. She set up her clinic in Harlem to kill black people. She was about eugenicists, about population control of undesirables. She wanted to make sure that those undesirables could walk to her clinic. And this clinic was the predecessor to today's Planned Parenthood. And guess what? 78%, almost 80%, almost 8 out of 10 every clinics of Planned Parenthood you can walk to from a black community. Interesting. Interesting how that worked. Now, has nothing to do with her wanting to kill her children before they're born, right? Because even though she spoke to Nazis and put on by a Klansman, she didn't hate us. Gosh. Okay, so continue with the song. She moved up to Harlem. Why? For the conspiracy. Look at the life you lead. Interesting part of the hook. You see, this abortion agenda, this conspiracy to control our population, to kill our children before they're born, it can affect you if you don't have irresponsible sex and unwanted pregnancies. You see, I'm not a person that is a victim or think you should be a victim and say that things are set up and it's just happening to you. No, that's not how the world works. You make decisions. So look at the life you lead. You can avoid all this. But a lot of people, wow, 2019, still raw dogging in 2019. And I've been married for a long time, so Y'all do you. But, back to the song. But, many years before she was killing niggas in New York, she was fucking Charles Drysdale. It's where her life took a fork, right? Charles Drysdale is one of the more famous figures in the Malthusian line of thinking. And what is that line of thinking? And what line of thinking did he pass down to Margaret Sanger? I don't know if they were actually smashing or whatever, but she was his protege. He taught her. And as a eugenicist, the eugenicist that she became was based on the theories that this dude held. Now, what were the theories of Methuselah? Let's see. She learned population growth. It was exponential. But the food source grew linear. And they saw blacks with no potential. These sick fucks only saw two outcomes. Kill babies in their slums that look like you and me. Because if we grow a population too quickly, it will lead to catastrophe. Hence, the conspiracy. Here's what this guy thought. The food source could only grow so fast. But because if I have two children, and those two children have two children each, it's called exponential growth, much faster. And he thought the population at some point would outgrow the source of food. And there'd be mass starvation and wars and famine and, has not happened, obviously. But this was their excuse to kill black people, right? Or less desirable people, right? This is a guy that taught Margaret Sanger, who opened up Planned Parenthood, moved it to Harlem, and now has them all in the black community, right? But it's, all coincidence. The song continues. Funding from Rockefeller, sharing secrets with the Klan. How else can I say it? They wanted to limit the black man. Now, people say John D. Rockefeller was a notorious racist. I don't know. He was helping fund the conspiracy. As again, you can look in the video. It shows right there, Wikipedia. He was not only giving her money, but under the table. He didn't want nobody to know. And sharing secrets with the Klan. I didn't show this in the video, but you can go online. You can see it anywhere. I'll pull this from Snopes, or whatever these jokes are called. Even these people, they said. It turns out Sanger did speak to a group connected to the KKK. And wrote about it openly in Margaret Sanger, an autobiography. Published in 1938, Sanger details her work advocating birth control across the United States and emphasized she'll work with anybody, right? I can imagine Donald Trump. Oh yeah, I gave a speech at the KKK rally, but it's just, I don't agree with them. I have no affinity for these people. I'll talk to anybody about anything. Give me a break. This is what she said. It always, to me, any aroused group that was willing to kill niggas. No, she didn't say it. She said, always to me, any aroused group was a good group, Sanger writes. And therefore, I accepted an invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan at Silver Lake, New Jersey. One of the weirdest experiences I had in lecturing. Really? Well, since it was weird, you're excused. What? Give me a break. So you're telling me this lady, she was put on by a Nazi sympathizer and a Klansman. And she spoke at women's branches of the Klan, right? And she was opening up clinics in Harlem for some reason. She was taught by this dude to kill people that, were undesirable, blacks in the 1920s. We still give awards named after Margaret Sanger. Just cool. So we move on in the song. So she hired this man by the name of Clarence Gamble, to bring it to the church to make it work. It was a gamble. Clarence Gamble. Here's where this is going. The best, and it continues, the best way to get us, it was to appeal to our religion. 20 million souls later, after Roe v. Wade. That was the decision. Google the Negro Project. I got it all from the wikis, from Wikipedia, just like I told you. I repent, turned around, because they already tricked me. Got me a long time ago. Let's start back with Clarence Gamble. You see, Margaret Sanger associated herself with Clarence Gamble, a well-known person in the Christian community back in the day. And she told him, hey, we need you to elicit the support of black ministers in order to push this abortion agenda. Real talk. It was called the Negro Project. They paid off ministers to keep our people in line, that knew that this agenda that was being pushed on our people for over 100 years now, keep them in line. Think I'm playing. Look this up. Look it up. It gets no crazier than this. Margaret Sanger. Okay. Straight from the wikis, right? Here's what you're going to hear about Margaret Sanger. It's right on the video. Sanger advised Dr. Gamble on the utility of hiring a black physician for the Negro Project, right? Let the blacks kill the blacks. But she also advised him on the importance of reaching out to black ministers. This is what she wrote. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the person, is the man who can straighten that out if it ever occurs to any of the more rebellious members. Interesting. This is what the founder of Planned Parenthood said. But this is who you want to roll with. Give me a break. And guess what? You want to roll with them because the deceit is strong. Let's go back to the song. And the deceit is strong, especially in the hood, where we got a lukewarm church and a Planned Parenthood for the conspiracy to limit you and me. Listen, I talked about it in part 1. It is up to us to right the ship. And in order to right the ship, we need to come back together with our values and our spirituality through the church, through the body of Christ. And know that this type of thing is no longer acceptable. Why? Because we know, as rational human beings, we know as connected Christians, we know as faithful servants of God, we know as neighbors to our friends and family, we know as adults that this culture of abortion ain't right. We know that. And it's time to change it. So I ask you, are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get it.